What's up, guys? In this video, January 31st, I think, I'm going to talk about health because, looking at the spiritual community or whatnot, a lot of people talk about living high vibrationally, but I don't see much substance discussed from many people in regards to what's going on with our healthcare system and how to be healthy in each, layer of who you are, the physical, physiological, mental, emotional. So I'm going to discuss that a little bit. And of course, in the halls of the owners of this world per se, health is the one of the biggest things they don't necessarily teach us, right? There's I call it the two bodies of knowledge that we're not told. We have and I think I got this from Mark Passio, he called it an arcana. An arcana is a body of knowledge. There's only two things they don't tell us and they don't teach us in school to keep us ignorant and control us. There's the lesser arcana and the greater arcana. Kind of like the as above, so below law of correspondence concept. We have the greater arcana being that as above, that body of knowledge that pertains to how the world functions, how our solar system functions, what's going on, globally, collectively. Then we have the lesser arcana. That's everything pertaining to us individually, who we are, our day-to-day lives, our habits. Then, thinking in school, they don't teach you how to deal with the system we have, balance checkbooks and tune your car and shit like that. And they also don't teach us about the systems in which we could potentially have, gift economies and obviously, things that would transform our world. And they also don't teach us how to literally eat and move and basic things like that. So the managers have always controlled our healthcare system. And this is a crucial point. I'll be making videos on this, the history of healthcare, I should say. That's a big thing for many people to understand, is the history of that, how they've controlled that lesser arcana through the Rockefeller medical system, at least in this country in America, and then globally with other programs in Europe. But the Rockefellers set up the education system in the early 1900s. I believe it was 1903, in which they set up their General Education Board, and then they set up the American Medical Association shortly thereafter. So this pivotal point in time is sanitized from textbooks, from health teaching courses, and the Rockefellers literally hired a guy. They hired a guy named Abraham Flexner, and he went around the country teaching doctors how to prescribe more pharmaceutical medication, because the Rockefellers, remember, they were large investors in the oil industry and also the petrochemical industry. The Rockefellers on this side of the ocean did a lot of work with companies in Germany, such as IG Farben, and corporations on the other side of the ocean who made chemicals. And the corporate governmental control has always been that way. Always basically rape and pillage in any which way they can. And they use chemicals not only for heavy industry like oil and military industrial complex and transportation, but pharmaceuticals are made with petrochemicals, and the pharmaceutical industry is the highest grossing industry currently right now out of all of them. The highest profitable profit industry, I believe over $1 trillion a year, if not more, and not even oil and the financial system and others bring in that type of return. And it's because they sell product. They sell product, and talk about consumerism, you must consume these drugs for the rest of your life, because there's no money in a healthy person. There's no money in a dead person. There's only money in sick people. And people are sick when they're kept ignorant. So that's why the Rockefellers not only set up the Medical Association, but they had to educate the doctors. They had to make the doctors think they were getting an education. That's what's crucial. Because when they can then mislead those in which the population believes to be authority, now you can see exactly how the situation is controlled and has gotten as large as it has, is because people think they're right when they're wrong. And egos don't like to be wrong. And think of a doctor. They spend $100,000 to go to a fancy institution, and they are told that they are the smartest, brightest people in the world. So their ego is entrenched in believing exactly what they're told. They don't want to see the alternative. They literally, they're the deep root of their being does not want to see that, because that would shatter the foundations of who they believe themselves to be. And then the populace looks to literally the people who are least likely to change their minds on the planet, the health professionals themselves. Everybody looks to them as being right and correct when they're not. They're not even close. So, I mean, obviously, people tell me, what would you do without doctors? What is this world without doctors? Well, if I break a bone or, I step on a nail, I'm going to go to a doctor. I'm going to get, urgent emergency medicine's great, is what I'm saying. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's the care for the self that doctors are, the continual care for the self, the day-to-day, the lifetime health concept care for self that doctors have no clue about. Give me a medical doctor that tells me about posture and how to keep my body aligned. Most of them don't have a clue. I was talking to an oncologist a couple months ago, and he was, he was talking to a friend. I was just sitting next to him and his buddy in a coffee shop, and this oncologist, breast cancer oncologist, lecturing his friend about breast cancer. I look over, I'm like, hey, so, and I heard in conversation that they don't know what causes cancer. I turn over, I say, don't, hasn't research supported? No, how did I phrase that question? I said, hasn't, toxins in our environment, anything like that been found to cause cancer? And he looks and he goes, research really doesn't support that, everything they've looked at. Bullshit. So, yeah, it must be understood these concepts of the education system itself was created to thus mislead the other industries. So, those are my thoughts on that, on the Rockefeller medical system and how they've misled the leaders. So, I'll make a edited video on this because I think that would be a very good subject to share. And hope you enjoyed those thoughts of mine. So, have a great Tuesday, people. I suppose I should start doing more videos on the substance of how to get healthy as well, because here I'm talking about it, and I just talked about the history and the creation of the system, but I will also do more topics on how to be healthy, how to eat, how to move, how to be healthy, and check out my website for more tips on that. So put a couple ebooks on there that you can also check out, and I'll be writing more. Done.